Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
All right, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All right, on Cyrus Says, we meet the millennials, Aranya and Dinkar, who are going to tell us about what 2016 was all about from their eyes. And they're very perverted, vulgar, and eyes of pain, anguish, cynicism. I warn you, Cyrus Says.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on Cyrus Says, I've had enough of this bad body language I've seen from people across India, and that is when you talk about something awkward, something nobody wants to hear, the person in question immediately says, sorry, what was that? I can't hear you. What was that? They seem to stammer and stutter their way through it, and that really upsets me. I think about time we just end this matter. I've got a technique which will work for everyone. When you want to say something which you know is awkward or upsetting or going to cause some trouble, talk like you're in slow motion. Hi, were you with Mr. Kapadia's wife yesterday? For example. And the answer is yes, I was. It's called Cyrus Says.
And that's what Cyrus says.
All right, you've heard of many great groups, Salim Javed, musician, composers, Simon Garfunkel. But today we've got Aranya and Dinkar, which is not quite the same thing.
We're starting up, so
yeah?
Hopefully soon.
You know, it's Aranya. Oh, it's Aranya?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And I said Aranya. There you go. This is the age gap, and that's why you're here. Because I'm so old, I can't even remember the names. Aranya, but that's a little different. I've never heard that name.
Yeah, it's kind of different.
Is it like put together? Is it a real name?
It is a real name, hopefully.
I want proof. In the words of government, show me your passport or PAN card number or,
Damn, I didn't get it.
Or wear revealing clothes. My government is a little different. Aranya. Okay, but get that right.
Aranya.
Yes. Okay, quickly, guys, your background before we get into this big discussion. Aranya, you are in the 12th standard?
I'm in the 12th standard. I'm 18 years old. I'm a poet and I kind of speak Korean.
You're a slam poet. Poet.
I'm a spoken word poet.
What does that mean exactly?
Basically, we get on stage and perform poetry. And
I find it highly insulting because you
anger
act
people.
like other people are people who don't use spoken words. So what kind of people are those?
So
they just
basically,
make sounds?
So no, basically,
are you referring to Bappi?
when you're
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's not get controversial.
I'm kidding, yeah.
But when you're performing poetry, there's recitation or you're performing it using body language. Sometimes you're using a prop and stuff. That's spoken word poetry.
That prop happens to be my wife. You show some respect, young lady. Okay, I want to ask you, you said Korean as well?
Yeah.
Okay, is that North Korean or South Korean? Ha ha! Sorry, that was funny. How Korean? Where did that come from?
I work with the Korean consulate. I host shows.
You're so young. Wait, when did you start? 3? You sound Korean. That's what they do. You work with the Korean consulate.
Yeah.
You're just 18. You're in the middle of exams, and you already have a proper job with a foreign country.
Yeah.
She sounds bloody important.
This sounds
Your
very
resume
important.
sucks, man.
It has nothing. I feel like I'll be a letdown after this.
I got nothing to say now. I'm older. Yeah. So quickly, Korean consulate, where did that happen?
I actually performed dance for them one time, and then they were like, "Hey, why don't we teach you Korean, and why don't you host for us?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I can do that."
How old were you then?
I was 15.
So you picked up the language in no time?
They got someone to teach me, so it wasn't that hard.
No, obviously, you're good at this because I learned Russian. I remember in St. Xavier's College just to meet girls because all the girls were learning Russian, and I got 19 on 50 or something in Hindi with great difficulty. I got 2 on 50 in Russian. I went back to Hindi. Forget the girls. There's no point yet. It's not easy. People can't just pick up languages like that. Some people have. I think it's a gene thing. You've got the language gene. Obviously, you're a poet as well. Let's move to Dinkar. He's feeling left now.
Definitely.
In this male-dominated society, he's getting nothing. Dinkar, you actually work with the same group I work with, which is Orgies Are Us.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yourself, you are a...
I am
A host.
Yes, a host of the Geek Fruit podcast, which is on this very network, where we talk about geeky stuff in general, like all of it in India. So we hope to eventually get more of our breed along, so we're not as lonely.
And you don't speak Korean.
I speak no Korean.
And you don't do poetry.
Yeah, I could maybe, I don't know, I've never tried.
Yeah?
I feel like, my art is the podcast.
Really? But do you rhyme during the podcast?
No, not at all.
Do you have a blast?
Do you have to rhyme during spoken
Do you have
word?
a
It's not
cast?
a rule, right?
It's not a rule, but it's cool if you do.
Okay, yeah, cool. So if we just take pauses in between segments, I feel like that counts as verses.
I think that's right. That's right. For me, one verse, if you repeat it all the time, that's good enough for the whole show. I think we should let's start all over again. So you speak Korean. Excellent. All right, the reason why you guys are here is because you represent what we call the millennial generation, apparently, which is you are the now people. I'm not even the them people, I'm the guys before that. So we had to skip a few generations and come to you. And the reason we come to you is because apparently you see things through different eyes. I can't believe it. Just the other day, I was the then generation. People used to say, get out of the room, it's too noisy or whatever. But things, we were the rock and roll generation. You guys are like, what's rock and roll? How the world has changed. It's amazing. So Aranya with an R, and please answer me in Korean. Are you ready to chat?
Day, I am.
Day?
Day means yes.
Day means yes. Here it's the name
in Korean?
Yes, the name of a female writer. Shobha.
Yes.
Is Shobha also Korean?
I got that.
I hope not.
I hope not.
So in Korea, she's Shobha, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Causes a lot of confusion. My God, if you like her, then what?
Oh, no.
All right, better not go to Korea. Coming back to the millennial thing, we've got lots of topics, so I'm talking too much. We need to get to them. Netflix. This is the big revolution around the world. And now India's caught up, whether you like it. Or rich India's caught up, at least. Some villages don't have Netflix as we speak. But hey, who cares, right? I can tell from your condescending laughter you agree.
Okay, fine.
So go on, please.
I've been on Netflix for a while, illegally, which I probably shouldn't say on the recording.
And you think you're the only one. It's like demonetization. The catch you is going to take a long time. Yeah. Go on. So Netflix has changed your life?
It has, yeah. Well, now that you can stream it anytime and you don't have to go through the whole VPN business, which used to be a pain because every once in a while they'd block it. And at one point they blocked all the US shows in India. And I was like, well, what am I even on this for? So now that it's fully legal.
But then Donald Trump won the election and everything is good.
And yes, the world has changed.
As we say in Korean, how do you cheer in Korean?
You just say fighting.
Fighting?
Fighting
What?
means yay, let's do it.
So actually it's all English, but they mean different words. I love this language.
They're like fighting. So
Please don't tell me that means something in Korean, which is very nice.
No, there's actually it's should I say it?
Please.
Shiba.
Shiba is sex.
Is in Korean.
But that's a long word for a simple word.
Shiba sounds, and it doesn't sound as emphatic as.
Doesn't sound dirty, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah. That's like cursing in French.
I would
cursing in French, you're like falling in love, but this guy's calling you an asshole.
Yeah, but this is the language I use with my grandmom. I'd be like, Shiba. That was her name, sadly. We named my grandmom after my Doberman. It's a long story. My family's really warped.
What?
Yeah. Can we get back to the Netflix thing?
Yes.
Aranya, you've not mentioned anything. We see you guys have grown up with this available. Imagine my generation had Doordarshan, and we had one show in English at 10 o'clock on Sunday, and then we had the highlight was Chaya Geet, where they would sing songs and change saris in 5 minutes. That was fun. Nirma ad was a big thing for me. I remember because the woman jumped up and down 10 times. But you guys, look at what you got.
But now with Netflix, you can even download shows.
Yes.
Which is like a very new update, which
Legally.
is great.
Legally. Yes.
Let's make the point that out.
Yes.
This is
So,
one problem.
we get laptops to school, and if you have it downloaded, we're sitting with our laptops on. Teacher thinks we're working, but we're just watching Stranger Things or
you can watch
something.
in Korean as well, so you've got so much more to see
Yeah.
than just us. And they've got a huge cinema culture, don't they?
Huge.
And
A lot of Bollywood movies are
copied.
Yeah.
And songs.
And I don't know about songs,
There's a
but
composer with a
definitely.
P, I'm told, who copies a lot of Korean songs.
Oh,
His
I
name
know
is
about
P and ends with Thumb, but I can't say his
I
name.
have no idea who you're talking about.
I don't either.
Your economy's collapsed. Geeks. Okay, so Stranger Things. This is a Netflix show. Now, keep in mind, I know nothing. So you're talking to your grandfather. What is Stranger Things? You've seen it?
No, I haven't.
That's amazing.
Yes, I've let down my geek community.
Disappointing.
But I worked really. Okay, so what happened was, there's a lot of stuff to watch on Netflix, and we haven't.
I think it's fair comment.
Yeah, there is way too much. I think that's the biggest
That's
problem we
such a
face now.
millennial problem.
Yeah, but
though.
our research tells us
too
this
much.
is one of the... Yeah, no, there's no doubt the demand-supply issue has gone spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
But the problem is Stranger Things, that there's some iconic shows where you just have to see them whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you don't like Kapil Sharma, you'll know about his show. It's like that. So Stranger Things apparently was one of those shows. Aranya, you tell us.
Stranger Things is, I would call it like sci-fi, but it also has a lot of, it has this
Shiba.
It has.
Day?
It has. It's about these kids. The protagonist is this kid called 11, and she's a scientific experiment, and about how she gets out of the government enclosure. Like they've been trying experiments on her, and it's a lot of science, but it's also really good.
It sounds more Russian than American. They catch the ray. Come here. Now lie down. We will now prod you with this and you will become a German. I don't know. Is that what happens?
Oh no, but it's really interesting because you always, how in like every like Hollywood movie ever, they always get adults or like 20-year-old older people to like enact teenagers. This time they actually
You're
got
right. She's bang on.
Yeah.
She's pretty wise for her age, isn't she? Like Michael J. Fox, poor chap, in his late 30s was playing 16.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example. They always do that.
Yeah.
They always overage the underage guy.
Always.
At least by 4 or 5, yeah.
So, but the thing on Stranger Things, they've got kids around the same age group as they've shown them.
So they're playing themselves in a way.
Technically, and it's also like it's this right like middle point of like funny and kind of serious, because they keep it lighthearted, but it's also like, even if you don't like science, like I'm not a science kid,
Yeah.
but I really enjoy watching the show.
It's like shows like House and all, which get that sort of drama comedy
Yeah,
mix.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
got both going for you. It's not senseless comedy.
Yeah.
Like a 99, what is that? Brooklyn Nine-Nine or whatever.
Brooklyn
It's more.
Nine-Nine,
It's more. Like, I get what you're saying. So what you're saying is, millennials, you need some meat as well. It can't just be the show has to have something more, some
Yeah.
depth. Not maybe profound is the wrong word, but there's something in it for you to stay engrossed. Also, you can't cheat the teenagers and the millennials anymore, because they want the right person for the right role. That's what I'm getting as well. You're very critical, far more
Yeah,
critical than
As
we
a
would have been.
teenager, she feels for her community who
I
are not
know.
getting enough roles.
I know. Day to you, I say. Day to you. And I was just thinking, look at us. We came up with, as long as the show was there and there were no lines, color bars going through, and the volume was basically okay. See, our standards were so different. We didn't really care. And William Shatner played the Star Trek captain, whatever, for 400 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never aged. And his acting was amongst the as good as a
His
Bollywood
wig
film.
got worse as the seasons went on.
The eyebrow raising, the chin
yeah.
wrenching, the neck movement. It was all like a 50s Hindi film.
Now I
Well,
feel like a
you
teenager.
can see everything so much clearer now because it's all streaming in HD.
Yeah.
So I think you
Oh.
can probably tell the difference.
I think
like if Back to the
my
Future
eye
was in
maybe-
HD.
Yeah, I can imagine if they redo it. But I'm just trying to think that my eye doesn't catch some of the action now. It's almost like we were raised on slower pace. And you guys, you watch effects of, say, a Batman or a Spider-Man's latest film or whatever. You'll pick it up like this. Well, we'll rewind and say, let me see where the punch went.
But that's actually true. Like it says that like people our age have like ADD more. That's because we watch like cartoons which are really quick. That's
Much
why we
quicker.
speak faster, we think faster.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like a natural study, and that's really interesting because you can see even like the TV shows, like even cartoon shows now. Like I'm just giving you a short example.
Not that you
Chhota
watch
Bheem.
them, Aranya. You don't watch them now.
Chhota
Being a Korean
Bheem.
specialist, yeah.
Things are happening so quick. And like you grasp it like this, but there are older people watching and they're like, what is happening? Why
For
is
Chhota
this?
Bheem, I don't understand why there are no riots. Because if you look at it, there's so much double meaning in that title alone. And I'm wondering how in our country, where there's so much pressure for offence taken and given, how the hell there are no riots? Please start one.
About Chhota
When you have
Bheem?
the time, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll get to it. I'll watch Stranger Things, then I'll start a ride on Chhota Bheem.
But listen, Dinkar, this is a little bit of a criticism that you haven't watched Stranger Things. Let me ask Aranya, do you think this was the show on Netflix for the year? This is what we've come up with. Would you
The
agree
show
with
of
that?
the year. Forget Netflix.
Oh, yeah?
It was great. And there was a lot of there was a lot of investment in it. So it was a very good budgeted TV show.
So bang for the buck. In your,
Absolutely.
for her, I think what she's trying to say is not just on screen, but everything in
Yeah.
production, everything was bang on, and it's like a
Yeah.
lesson for the rest. To
And it
follow.
keeps you hooked. And thing is, there are just 11 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot. So it's enough to
Amazing. The girls call 11 and they're 11 episodes.
Oh, wait, I'm
There
not-
are no ideas. 12. Confusing.
I'm not sure, but there are a few episodes. So it's not like you have to watch like 7 seasons.
Well, that's also the new style where they don't give you a typical amount. We grew up with, say, 13, British format 6, Indian format 13,
Yeah.
American format around the 20 mark. And now suddenly there's just, it's all for whatever. I'll do 7. I'll do 9. It's
That's
like...
the Netflix model. So they have this
Yeah.
entire bank of data based on which they decide the number of episodes. So all Marvel
Do
shows.
they do it before they release the first
before
episode?
they commission a set number of
So they've
episodes
got an
from the
idea in
start.
their head, or they look at the popularity and the market and then decide.
They look at the popularity in the market, and it's a very secretive thing. They don't release any numbers. Like, you don't know how many people have actually seen Stranger Things. -1, because I still haven't watched it. But they have all the data. They don't release it, unlike your traditional TV ratings and stuff, where it's all public.
But that's also sample study, brother. End of the day, that's
It's
not
not
fair.
even a sample because Netflix can see everything you do. They know when you've watched. They know where you
They're like
pause.
Big Brother.
They are Big Brother for
Except
TV
if-
shows.
Except with nice, they'll let us see porn.
Exactly.
I love Netflix.
They're the
I want to
best.
ask you, Dinkar, because you're Geek Fruit and you guys are in the whole business.
Yes.
Is there a competition that you saw this year? Is there a couple of shows that you'd like to put right up there on pedestal with Stranger Things or close runner-ups?
Most definitely, Daredevil season 2. All the Marvel shows on Netflix are
Aranya
amazing.
initially nod, so that means that's a good one.
I've heard of it.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Everyone's told me about it, but I haven't seen it. It's my Stranger Things, don't worry. It's my version.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone's got this one thing. We don't have
And you
this
guys are
common
towards
culture.
Marvel Comics. There's a bias, isn't there?
Of course,
there's
there
a
is.
love.
Yeah, there is so much love for it. Yeah, and we love the fact that they've expanded so much because, like a TV show, unlike a movie, is great.
They don't normally work, no?
Why?
No, I'm saying when you look at the TV show as against the movie,
Yeah.
generally the TV shows are just long drawn out. You can see that they've run out of ideas.
Exactly.
Episode 27 is so boring.
I think that's why the Netflix
Batman
model is
fights his
working,
mother.
because they go like 16 episodes, we're done. So it's
Yeah.
one story. So it's
Yeah.
basically like a movie, but way longer.
And now they're
which
shooting them
I'm
like
cool
a movie.
with.
They are shooting them like a movie.
Yeah,
So it's
they
not
are
like
pretty
there's
much
a
shooting them
difference in
like a
production,
movie.
as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So your generation is really spoiled for choice. I mean, the movies have to fight television because all the genres are coming together, and whichever quality you think is best wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't it that way?
Yeah.
So you say Daredevil. Is that a third name?
Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, all three great.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. Your comments, Aranya? Not seen?
Not the geek fruit host here.
So Stranger Things, we leave it there. Stranger Things is number one. We move to our next thing. The Vine. About a couple of years back, this was the big thing.
Yes.
Everybody was talking about this, stop doing what you're doing. The Vine is the new movement. Vine will
Yeah.
capture everybody's attention span for only that amount of time,
Yeah.
etc., etc., etc. What went wrong?
I have no idea. I thought it was doing great, and I feel like it's a shame they've shut it down, because you had like so many like people doing super innovative stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like you had these guys who do magic tricks within like those 6 seconds.
King or something. Oh, King
Famous
Bad.
American boy.
Yeah,
King?
yeah.
Is that his
I'm
name?
not sure
He
what
had
his name
huge
is.
production budgets towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
that
just
guy.
throwing money at him, and
He became a star.
Bottles were opening,
Yeah.
and that he would do these
Yeah.
magical tricks, or effects rather.
Yeah, effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like people doing comedy stuff, and like people you like just being like super random,
Yeah.
because it was such a free medium. I think it's a shame they shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, I just started watching Rahul Gandhi do the Vines, and then boom, then
No.
Arnab took over, and then he was funnier.
What's so sad about the Vine thing is the guy who started Vine sold his company, and like when the news came out, he just tweeted one thing: never sell your company. And that's so sad. Like, it's just think about that.
But Aranya, his point is actually quite valid. It did just abruptly hit us.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
What the hell happened? Does anybody know?
We don't know.
Because it didn't look like the trend was dead yet. But is it that the new things are coming up at such a fast pace that they just decide, let's pull out while we can before we look stupid? Is that the, what's happening?
Maybe. So Twitter in general isn't doing too well. I know that.
And just a few years back, Twitter was the new word.
It still is
It's
the new
what,
word.
2
I
years,
think like
2.5
Twitter
years?
is huge for people still, but they can't figure out how to make money. And I'm
But
guessing maybe.
Instagram and things like that have come and eaten it up.
Yeah.
And plus,
exactly.
Instagram has a lot of new updates of late. So, like, it is definitely trying to stay, like, constant. Same thing with Snapchat. Like, it's always trying to better itself, which is one place. Vine, you can't really better yourself with the kind of, like, interface it has. You can't, like,
Yeah.
So they limit
increase the
themselves
time.
in a sense with their own technology
exactly,
sometimes.
Exactly.
So in the words of the famous show Do or Die, what do you want? I would like to know, because, I mean, is there something, as a consumer, what do you want? Is there a timeline that you want? Is there a certain system that you'd like in place when it comes to social content?
I really liked Vine because it forced you to be creative under, like, a certain time extent.
I think that was 50% of the
Exactly,
fun was that you have to
precisely.
finish it in
You
that
have to
way.
Yeah.
finish in the 6 seconds.
But I don't know. I feel like if it wasn't going to be, like, helping eventually, especially with the updates on Instagram and Snapchat, I'd see why it did close down.
I feel like Instagram is going to become like the place, because they're
Yeah.
basically like they've put on they
Brother,
have an
never say
update that makes it
It's like a
Snapchat.
black tongue. You say that, and then Instagram dies.
Oh
Because
my
they come
God.
up with grandmother gram or something, and I mean, this technology for our generation, too quick. Too quick. I mean, look at when I was growing up, we just had a calculator. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
They just brought in the computer. Look at the
Polaroids.
amount of changes you guys have had in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's true.
I mean, you need to take courses. Forget Korean. We'll just have to just take courses.
In the
on
last
this.
5 years, Vine existed and then shut
Yeah,
down as well.
yeah.
It was born and died.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I'd really like it if everything came onto one platform, because I mean, honestly, even for me now, it's way too complicated. I took
Yeah.
ages to get onto Twitter. I took ages to get onto Snapchat, just
But
because I was like,
everybody-
one more.
But everybody does that. They have their 4 or 5 babies which they want to present to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they sort of go from one to another, and that takes the whole day. Because you've got to
Pretty
switch on,
much.
switch on, switch on. And Aranya, you're the youngest here. You tell us. What should we do?
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of social medias of late, essentially. Like, even
So you're feeling it. As a millennial,
I'm
you're
feeling it as well. But
Oops.
like every person is either super active on just one thing or not active on either.
Before we go into a break, these TED Talks that we were watching the other day also tell you about surplus being a huge problem. One of these very learned men, economists, came on and explained that he grew up in a generation where he had one pair of jeans. And he goes to buy a pair of jeans 10 or 15 years later, and he just goes and all he has is his waist size, let's say 34 and blue. So he says 34 and blue. And the woman says, you want this cut, this rip, that rip, this slim fit. And he was like, we went home with his blue, and he started thinking, I made the wrong decision, because surplus can kill you.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
stop thinking. You get paralyzed with fear. So you think we have a surplus when it comes to social content and social options?
Absolutely.
Networks.
Definitely.
Absolutely. 100%. Even like with WhatsApp and all that, like a bazillion different options to use. Like when I used to work at Hive, we had a different app just to like work. And then we had a different one called Telegram for my other internships. So they're like, so even for like just a messaging application. There are less like a bazillion. So imagine for like everything else. Like there are alternatives for Twitter as well. There are alternatives for like there's something called V Live, which is like Facebook Live. Yeah, so
India's
there
going
are
to give
so
you many
many
options now.
Oh
Just
my
watch.
God.
It's going to come from here.
There is
And
too
there's
much
Korea,
going on.
where she comes from. There's Japan. There are all these big IT countries who are all going to give you original content and new options.
Yeah.
I think it's very scary.
There's too much choice. Have you seen this thing where like nowadays, like if you book one ticket on Book My Show, it's like
Boom.
I confirm, and
Yeah.
there's like 8 messages suddenly, like from your bank, from Book My Show, from
Don't you
people
feel
going.
pressure
like,
when that happens?
Yeah,
like,
I'm
there's
like,
just too many things. I'm like, oh, what have I bought?
I'm not used to being that popular.
Oops. It's almost like they're waiting like vultures. You can see you're taking out your credit card. Boom, 80 million people are on you.
Oh, God.
God, demonetization. I miss the old days. I tell you, I really miss the old days. I think we missed one very erudite politician, Mulayam Singh Yadav, last to last elections. I sound like him in English now. Last to last elections said that we should ban the computers. And I think maybe that's a thought. That's a thought. Don't get upset.
Yeah, no.
You can go back to television. I'll show you the same show. Stranger Things will still work. You have HD and everything. So can we take a quick break while we consume this part of the program?
consider this.
So let's do that.
You guys grow a little. Come on. Then we come back.
Hi, I'm Ambika.
And I'm Hoshna.
Come journey with us around India as we chat about new and offbeat destinations, from secret islands to village stays, give you travel tips and advice, discuss all the yummy and weird food we've sampled, and induce some serious wanderlust.
So tune in to the Rediscovery Podcast.
New episodes out every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app you like.
Okay, back here we have Aranya with an R. How dare I get names wrong? But I'm very good with names. I always try and remember them correctly. I must tell you, from whatever culture people are, I try to, if you're south, north, east in India, whatever, or from whatever part of the world, I always ask 10 times to try and get the pronunciation. I feel it's very disrespectful if you don't care enough to know what the person's name means to the person.
Yeah.
Now I'm sounding gay. But you know
What
I'm
does your
saying.
name mean to you, Cyrus?
Actually, in Farsi, it means shepherd of the people.
Really?
Cyrus the Great, or Cyrus, was the first great king. But he was not Zoroastrian. The Prophet and him were at the same time, but he was the first Persian king, Persian Empire. Darius the first. You want a lecture? I'll give it to you. Or Darius, as we know him, was the first Zoroastrian king.
Oh.
You've really researched about your name.
I have nothing to do.
I asked my mom what my name meant last week, and it means prosperity for nature. And
You didn't wonder up till that point?
Prosperity for
18
nature.
years old, and then suddenly go like, wait a second, what does my name mean?
I knew my name meant Queen of Nature because I think like I googled
There's
search
two
or
different
something.
things, huh? Queen
Yeah,
and prosperity.
exactly. So then I asked mom, I was like, it's prosperity. I'm like, I've been telling people my name means the wrong thing my whole life. And she's like, no, it's prosperity. So like now I'm more conscious of not saying Queen of Nature, but even though I feel I am.
I like Queen of Nature better.
I like Queen
you
of
sound
Nature.
more like from
More
nature.
royal, right?
Yeah, royal and from nature. You represent it. Prosperity is like just an adverb of sorts. I don't know what it is.
Maybe your mom changed the meaning after the whole demonetization.
Dinkar, on the other hand, is what, a date?
It means the sun.
Really?
It's literally like Dinkar.
Oh.
Like in Hindi, I make
like
the
for really
day.
dumb kids, it'll be like,
Yes,
now that is sun.
pretty
Dinkar. Excellent. Well done. Now we've all got interesting things. We blame our parents for that. We can't blame our parents on the next stuff, which is iPhone 7, the launch, the hype. Also Samsung and their ups and downs this year. So let's look at the whole... the mobile phone revolution, so to speak.
Yeah.
Revolution is the wrong word because they just keep turning
It's
and turning.
been revolving for a while now. It has revolutionized.
What do you guys have? What do you guys have on you?
I have
Yeah.
You go ahead.
I use a OnePlus 2.
As do I.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you
yeah.
planned this?
Yeah, we did. It's a millennial
Everyone
thing.
does now. So basically, like, Apples are too expensive.
Yeah.
Samsungs blow up, and this is what's
So
left.
this is purely commerce, your answer. It's not to do with what you want, again. But let me ask you a thing. Have you, either of you, and I'm placing the date of birth well over 1985, 1990, right?
Yeah.
Okay, have either of you used, in your life, honestly tell me, a dial phone where you use your finger, a rotational
Yes.
round dial
Yes.
We had one at
Where?
my grandmother's house.
phone? Right, while you were a kid, you remember this?
Yes.
So you would actually dial a number, you know how to do it?
I
If I give you a
it
phone?
took me ages to figure it out, but yeah,
That's
because
not
I
a
was
joke,
like,
that's the
yeah,
real thing.
It's a real thing because
Yeah.
I was like, how does this work? Like,
Yeah.
where do you stop?
Exactly. Or did you try to tap it? Like 3, 3, 3, like that?
No, but I used to find it fascinating because like I'd keep sending it like all the way back to the zero and then like
What
let
do
it
you
like
say?
slowly
And the
roll
tring.
back.
And that sound would
And
come.
yeah.
Oh,
It felt
God.
very real.
But I remember like every time I do this is at my my Masi's place, and I would get a shock every time I'd use it because it was an old one. I'd just be like, we don't have this problem, Masi. Sucks to be you.
But why would they keep it?
Our
They
phones
just
just blow up.
Aesthetic purposes.
Yeah, but they do look nice. I
They
hate to say
do.
it. They really look.
They do.
I grew up thinking that's the phone, and then they went to this thing where the phone became really small. Now it's gone back to medium size.
Yeah.
But the mobile phone was like 4 inches, and you'd be thinking like, really? I mean, you can slip it into your palm, as they said, and it's just ridiculous.
And when it started, it was huge. Like, it had the antenna and stuff.
Yeah.
Huge.
It was like a radio. The
Yeah.
idea was a radio first. From radio, they went down to Walkman. From Walkman, smaller and smaller, and then back. I think this will keep going. But iPhone 7, what's your view on it?
I think terrible. You can't not have a headphone jack. That is
Absolutely.
Oh, so you guys don't like iPhone?
And
Okay.
also, like, AirPods are so expensive. I wouldn't buy a phone. No, I lose headphones so easily. I wouldn't want to like invest in a phone which is anyway so expensive and spend like so much money every month having to buy like new
which
headphones.
don't fit, so you'll have to buy other ones, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So you guys are against the iPhone 7 on principle here.
On principle.
Oh, iPhone, forget 7. But too much hype? They really get the most hype, whatever you say.
Yeah, and I think,
People standing in
there's
lines.
been a lot of backlash now just because of the headphone thing.
Yeah.
So, and I think they're overrated. Apple in general is overrated.
My God.
I know.
I'm not much of a tech
That's a
buzz,
huge battle you want to fight, yeah?
but they promoted it fantastically. I love the video they dropped, the first video. I think AIB even did a they covered it and made fun of it, but
Get
it was
free
done.
iPhones, but that
with
didn't work. Yeah.
You should have you seen that ad? It's like just like a ton of stuff flashing at you. Like you will have if you have
a breakdown.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's for the ADD generation.
It is absolutely like it catches attention like
Can you
this.
recall what they show?
Yeah, hopefully, but
We don't have to. We can just stream it again.
yeah, and also like they found a way to like tell you the main features without like making it seem like they're showing off too much.
But don't you get the feeling that worldwide they get the support of other media? Generally, when they're about to go, of course, when things don't go so well, they come down like a ton of bricks. But they get the support worldwide, pan-world. People are like, iPhone 7, huge thing. They create this buzz, which, it's like a Tendulkar or something. You can't really explain it. It happens.
Yeah, I think that's Apple's worked like really hard on their like media and brand image for ages, which like you don't hear that about like you never hear like HP being the cool thing.
No.
Anyone uses a computer, it's always an Apple.
Yes.
On the MacBooks,
Propaganda.
They say it's not like it's never been officially confirmed, but it's pretty much a given that the Apple logo, they flipped it. It used to be the other way, so that when you look at it, the Apple would point towards you. They flipped it so that when it's on a computer screen or like when you're watching it, basically in a movie, it points the right way.
You think?
Yes.
Or is that just a coincidence?
No, it is before. So, like, basically, if your laptop's like this, and this is like great for our podcast viewers, you're looking at the top of your laptop, and the Apple points towards you. But when you open it up and someone looks at it from the other side, it's upside down. They changed that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Smart thinking. Why lose any audience?
Yeah, exactly.
Smart enough. Okay. Which brings us to the other fellow. What's his name? Samsung.
Yeah,
Not so good.
Isn't the new
So many
Samsung
jokes.
phone the bomb?
it is.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part is everybody and their mother took a dig. Every culture and every language, Korean, I'm sure, North as well.
Absolutely.
Everybody, and that's a place where you don't want things to go off.
Samsung is from Korea, so
It is from Korea.
But they didn't. They gave it to them. And Korea's having a bad time, by the way. The Prime Minister being impeached and all kinds of corruption charges. I'm told their corruption is nothing compared to our corruption, but still they're being impeached.
Yeah,
it's a very Shiba'd up time. There.
Yes, they Shiba'd themselves. That's what they've done. Yeah. Well, coming back to any products, other products that stood out this year for either of you?
The OnePlus 3T just came out.
Yes.
And it's pretty cool, but if you have a OnePlus 3, it doesn't make sense to upgrade. But if you have a OnePlus 2, like both of us, we could consider it.
Yeah.
Aranya, I told my wife, can we have OnePlus 3? And I got the 3 girls also. Said no. She said no. She said she'll buy me a Samsung instead. And go sit on it, boy. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's enough of tech talk. We'll save it for your show. Yeah. Let's move on to Harambe's death. Harambe's
Holy
death.
hell.
You're laughing though. It's not that funny. Tell me.
Harambe is the Cincinnati. Was he a gorilla? No,
He was
he
a
was a
gorilla.
gorilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had to kill him because the kid fell in the.
Yeah.
But then it became a meme. Like it was everywhere, and it was there for like half the year. And in fact, during the election, there were 13,000 written votes for Harambe.
Harambe.
13,000. That's not a small number.
It's a tough one. Okay, the kid goes in, and what do you do? The kid is a kid. But having said that, it's a tragedy. How can you? I mean, the poor gorilla.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. We don't know for sure if he would have done anything. This is a tough one. But at the end of the day, he is a victim.
Yeah. They
Because
said
you
he
locked him
most
up.
likely wouldn't have done anything, but I mean, that's
if
a
it's
tough
your
call
kid,
to
what are you
take.
going to do, right? Just imagine.
Yeah.
But this happened
Of course. Sorry.
like the whole thing, similar thing happened in Delhi as well. I think
tiger.
last last year with the tiger.
Yeah.
And
They shot the tiger, right?
They shot the tiger, which is like understandable if you like look at a tiger and a gorilla. But it's still like really sad. People like there were petitions and stuff after the whole thing.
See, it's not about whether they're predator or not predator, whether the gorilla would have been more maternal or whatever. The point is that who's going to take the chance, right?
Yeah.
You look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But having said that, what a tragedy it is, because you're trying to preserve these lives and then this happens. I wish we'd lock up some of our politicians instead. And then I'd just drop kids in all the time. I'd be like, God, here!
We didn't have a choice. We had to shoot him.
Yeah. And they won't even run because they're so unfit. It's so easy. It'll be like, bang, got him again. Bang, got him again.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're laughing about it, but what a real tragedy.
I don't understand why it
How does the
became
kid
such
get
a
out?
meme though.
Yeah.
But how, Dinkar, you guys aren't parents, but how the hell do you let your kid into a gorilla enclosure? Who does that?
Yeah.
What kind of mom or dad does that?
Yeah, parents' fault first.
Come on. I mean, if you've ever seen anybody with their kids, they're very careful in public places.
Especially at zoos.
Or is it because,
Especially.
I know. Unless you're returning them, because you have to put them back. I don't want this kid, I'll take the lion instead, which is also fair. I think we're so overpopulated in India that this kind of thing could happen in India, because you literally, he's there somewhere. Millions of us. But in
just
America,
lose track
I was
of him.
hoping for better. I was hoping for better.
But it became a
Movement, yeah.
And Cincinnati Zoo even tweeted and was like, "Stop making a joke out of this."
Yeah.
But
apparently they were up so. See, for them, it's like their children. They're keeping them and looking after them, etc., etc. So it was a huge blow for them. And then people making fun mustn't have, it became a joke and all that. So I can understand.
Yeah, it basically became like a cause that everyone could make fun of for some reason. So
Don't make fun. I've been called gorilla many times and it hurts. Especially when they stop calling me.
You know about the whole like dicks out for Harambe movement, right?
No, tell us about that.
Oh, so basically at some point it became so much a meme that dicks out for Harambe became a slogan and guys would put pictures up with their dicks out saying dicks out for Harambe. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
No.
How does that help Harambe?
It helps no one.
There was like a vigil in Bombay and in Delhi and like half of the world for Harambe. And like I feel sure it's a great thing and stuff, but to a certain extent it was just to keep the meme alive. And that's so disappointing.
Yeah. Why would you flash your penis to show solidarity with the gorilla? Have you seen his penis? Jesus Christ. What a bad decision that would be. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's not a comparison.
I know they have that mustache thing for cancer, is it? That they do in Australia and the US. They have a mustache week, November or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No shave November.
Yeah, exactly. So they do. This is done, but when you take it to your genitals, I don't know. It's got quite the same meaning or spin-off.
And then guys were saying that since guys are doing dicks out for Harambe, girls should do tits out for Harambe. And it just became a whole mess. It was like on Reddit.
Harambe would be, why did I die? This world has got so much better.
I think there's
did that happen?
Oh.
God, I got to get...
I'm sure it did at some point.
I'm missing all the fun.
There was a whole subreddit for
what
Harambe.
If you're a transgender? Are you going to be confused when you sort of... I don't know who I'll support today. God damn it, I have got everything with me. Harambe, it's for you. Okay. No disrespect, Harambe. Rest in peace. Let's move on quickly. Tanmay Bhatt, speaking of large comedians, myself included. Too much made out of too little?
Absolutely, I think so. Absolutely.
Oh, way too much. I can't, there was no reason for any of that to happen.
Yeah.
And political parties who hardly exist suddenly wake up and say, start the revolution.
It's a very dicks out for Harambe kind of thing where suddenly you find a cause.
Harambe was a serious issue. I think, what's the issue here?
There was no issue.
I mean, if you don't like the comedy, shut the thing, don't watch it, forget it. Or you can criticize it, who cares?
Anupam Kher tweeted about this. He's like, I'm some amount of winner of nine-time winner of comic artist.
Best film
but this isn't comedy. This is disgusting and disrespectful.
But you know that works in our film fairs and all that. Whoever turns up gets the award. You have to turn up and call and say, I'm here. Okay, and you get the award. It's like
present.
That. Yeah, you present one award and give you the next one. It's like that. You can choose also. Even if you didn't do comedy that year, you can still take it. Really nice. Yeah, something like that. But have you realized we have a strong... Right wing is not the right word. Orthodox, I think, is a stronger word. How many Indians who we think are very liberal and sort of normalish suddenly become like, I will teach you a lesson, how dare you, how dare you.
Yeah.
But that scares the crap out of me because suddenly, where did this come from? This voice of God that, over little things, not just Tanmay Bhatt. There are many things all here where you suddenly get this voice of doom coming.
You know what? So as millennials, I don't know if you found this, maybe 18-year-olds are a whole different breed, but as mid-20s people.
You're looking down now. Tits out, boy!
As I speak to some of my friends and suddenly out of nowhere, you will get this streak of orthodoxy that comes out.
Yeah.
That's
the Snapchat
exactly what I'm
thing.
talking about.
There will be people who go it shouldn't have become a big deal, but he shouldn't have done that. I'm but why not? Let him.
Why do they have to underline? Either you're against it or not. I mean, why do you go both ways? But that whole thing shouldn't have done it. There's a limit. What the
There is. Why should there be a
internet,
limit?
man?
You know, my
People
thing
are showing
was-
you people beheading people. Yeah, sorry.
Sachin and
Lata
were not offended. Like Lata said that I'm not offended, but the people who care about me are offended, and as long as they're hassled, I'm hassled. So technically, didn't really offend.
That's transitive property. She's offended. If A touches B, then
Yeah.
B touches C, then A touches C.
But she said she's only hassled because her fans were hassled. Like that was the only thing that
if
I
she was
annoyed her.
hassled, if she was to file defamation against him, she can go ahead.
Yeah.
It's between them. Why is there
But why?
movement?
Yeah.
Why don't the news channels stop 24 hours and discuss this? And the same day, 24 people were killed in Kabul. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just another comedian doing another piece of comedy. It really doesn't need to amount to more than that.
And it wasn't even like a very well planned or thought out piece of comedy.
Yeah.
He literally just turned on
It
his
was
phone and
improv.
like made a silly joke.
See, that now, whether you like it or not is another point altogether. I'm saying, why do you have to make a movement out of it
Exactly.
and take out your sword and decide? There were people saying we will kill him on the streets and
Yeah,
all that. I mean,
yeah.
is he the world's worst Indian? I mean, honestly,
You know-
have you seen what other people have done?
Yeah.
I feel like what's like something you like notice with like older people, like at least with like people of power, they'll take every opportunity to show you that they have power. Like they will want to like make sure that the younger like people or people who don't have power know that it's them that they need to be like serving to per se.
But it's a lesson to all of us, be careful.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Brother's
yeah.
watching you. So everything seems cozy and then suddenly somebody says something and boom, you're in trouble again.
Apparently, you would have thought Snapchat was a safe space where like there are no politicians.
Check with Anupam Kher before you talk.
Yeah.
Call him up, check, then do it. That's the
But
best
the
way.
worst thing was like explaining to like every old person what Snapchat was.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like
how do you-
Snapchat
I mean,
If
awareness
you
shot
just
through
kept
the roof.
quiet, nobody would have seen it. Right? It was only for you guys. He wouldn't have- your uncle would have never known. They put it on the news channels, the radio channels, and then newspaper, and then all of them got involved. In
Arnav
fact,
Goswami like explained what Snapchat was, like the Wikipedia definition.
and then you hit the ball on the head, if that's the wrong expression. Let me tell you, I remember lots of older people asking younger people, mere ko dikhao, ye kya hai, mere ko dikhao. And then by the end, they just hear someone say, or something
Half
like
of
that for 5 seconds.
half
Really?
half of them don't know like it's mainly used for like nudes or like Snapchat filters.
Yeah, coming from
Doggy
the Snapchat
filter.
world, it wasn't the most offensive thing out there. So you say, "Abhi chacha, ye dekho." Tanmay bahut acha, pavitra aadmi hai. Oh God, the world is changing. But you guys you better sort this out. I'll be dead by then. Figure out what is liberal and what is not. Because our country has this one step forward, two step backward
Yeah.
way of. So is America actually.
Yeah.
We're very close. I think the
Yeah.
two countries are very close in
Where,
having strong orthodox presence as well as very liberal presence,
Yeah.
and it's always going to be a fight between them. Be very careful. Leonardo DiCaprio wins the Oscar finally. Are you a big fan?
Not really.
You know the pretty boy complex, which we also have here. So the pretty boys are not good actors, or the pretty girls are not good actresses.
Yeah.
You know, and you have this stereotype and this flip that goes on.
Yeah.
This guy apparently, he and Brad Pitt have got this chap on their shoulder that they're too good looking and they're not great actors. But both have a very impressive body of work.
They're both
Yeah,
very good actors.
and
absolutely.
actually are very good actors. But
I had that prejudice against both of them. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, when The Beach, I think was his first big movie after Titanic.
That's
and
not
it's like,
BITCH. Huh?
Yeah.
So no, don't call us on this podcast.
Yeah. We said Sheba. I
But
think
that
you're getting a lot of
Sheba, you man.
He was such a pretty boy, and like he had this like teen heartthrob thing going. I was like, not this guy, but he's like, I mean, he changed everybody's mind. He's a fantastic actor, and like that was a well-deserved Oscar. But I don't think this was a great performance or a great movie. I thought
He got it
Revenant was
for
very
all his
okay.
other work, all his
Pretty
other good
much.
work.
Yeah, the Oscars do that. Like Martin.
This one was the bad jokes have done the rounds, but
Yeah, but didn't he like cut? I haven't seen the movie, so if you guys have
It's a
seen it,
very
don't
slow
know.
film.
He cut like a bear and slept in it or something.
Yes.
I like that is like I don't see like many other actors being okay with doing things like
But it
that.
wasn't a real bear.
Oh, okay,
but,
that changes
No, but
things.
she's right. It's more like you're promoting a sort of brutality.
Yeah.
In survival, where you'll do anything in a world where we want to be politically correct. So she's right. When you're such a top of the line actor, you want to be very careful about how you look as well in the film. So maybe, but I think for him, he's just reached a point where he doesn't care about all this anymore because he's reached the top of his craft, and it's
Yeah.
more about I just want to do this.
He's more
Great.
concerned about the environment nowadays.
And I don't know.
That's off camera.
On camera also, he's just done,
it?
he's put out a free documentary, it's about an hour and a half long, about global warming, where he's like travelled all over the world.
Has he met Donald Trump and his views?
Really?
There ain't no
Yeah.
global warming.
Why, this should be made popular. Why don't I know about
It
this?
should be.
That's
And,
so
like,
disappointing.
he's doing it purely, I think he funded it all himself. I also
Wow.
heard that he travelled on a private jet to all the locations, so that's probably like...
See, this is always going to come back to bite them on the ass.
Yeah.
No matter how you do it, there'll be a digital print following you, and there'll be a carbon print following you. There's no way out.
You
no matter
can't
what
get
you
out
do.
of it.
Like that happened with Barack Obama as well. When he was in presidency, everyone was like, "Oh, he's the greatest." Now that he's off, everyone's like, "Oh, do you know he spent the most on his vacation time, most money?"
Do you know more soldiers died on his watch, or more citizens, whatever? I mean, so how do you explain these things? You can't just give statistics. It's scary that way.
Yeah.
But coming back to DiCaprio, but deserved the Oscar. If not for the film, deserved the Oscar.
Yeah,
Deserves the Oscar,
absolutely.
yes.
All right, we'll move on.
There was this whole joke that like hell broke loose. Like we entered a new like dimension of life after he won the Oscar, because that's when everything started going downhill.
You think?
After that the Harambe thing happened. After that the
he kills
election
the bear,
thing started.
then the gorilla dies, the spiral's out of control.
Illuminati.
Donald Trump gets elected president. It's all connected.
She's got a very black sort of way of looking at things.
Hmm.
Yeah, are you with the sacred arts in Korea?
Let's not discuss this here.
And yet
Please
she's-
speak to us in Korean before we close, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, we have to quickly put in 2-3 things more. We're running out of time. Viral, a lot of things went viral. For us, Chaiwala was big. Was it big for you? The Pakistani guy?
Yeah.
It was all for a couple of days. It was all over your timeline for like.
Were we laughing at him more? What was the whole thing?
He has a rap song now, so I don't think anyone should laugh at him.
Yeah.
I want that life.
You think?
Yeah, of
I
course.
think good for him,
Yeah.
and I
But
don't know. it's a-
PSY Sai, when you look at him and Gangnam Style, I think there's a lot of respect. We actually like him. You know? The Chaiwala, do we like him in the same way, or do we sort of like him because he's funny?
We like him because he's attractive. I think that's like the end
Oh,
point.
is that
Like
what
I
you say,
don't.
Dinkar?
Yes, have you seen that picture?
The thing is, I don't think I know his name, but I know he's really attractive. Like male friends of mine were like, "Oh my god, he's so hot." And I'm like,
In
"Yes, he
Pakistan,
is."
a Chaiwala just became a hot stud. In India, Chaiwala became a prime minister. See the difference.
Yeah. So
Two countries.
chaiwalas have the power now.
You tell your kid, bring me some chai and you'll be somebody. Take them. And don't listen to Tanmay Bhatt on Snapchat.
Yes.
You did 2-3 things and save the gorilla. Let's just give them the full lecture once and for all. Urta Punjab release. Mr. Kashyap and controversy seem to go hand in hand as far as Bollywood goes.
Yes.
Do you get the feeling that he wants to take on the authorities all the time? He's like the bad boy.
I think so.
A little bit, he likes that image also.
I think that's kind of his MO now.
We all fall prey into our own ego.
I don't know if it's ego. See, like his causes are always legitimate. Is the great thing. But yeah, I also think like he plays into that character a bit where he's like anti-establishment and stuff, which is fine.
And victimized in a sense.
And victimized.
Now he's not in a rickshaw anymore like he was in the early days.
Yeah.
It's all good. He's got
He's-
influence,
he's
he's got
like a
support,
powerful
he's got
guy
friends,
now
he's a
in
powerful
Bollywood.
guy. So he can't play that, leftist filmmaker who's struggling with, half a hero trying to make a film but making a point with great creativity and, with whatever he's got. It's not that. But one gets the feeling he's always looking for a fight.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's
Most
because
definitely.
he's getting things that like media and like theatre. I mean, and that people don't want to hear or like people don't want to acknowledge.
Aranya, do you realize the kind of publicity that Urta Punjab got just
Because of that.
from that?
Yeah.
Again, like the Tanmay Bhatt thing, which only was one day, this was for a week.
Yeah.
Will it go? Will it not go? They don't have to do anything after that.
Yeah.
Every language, north, south, east, west, they cover the story. What do they have to do? Everybody knew this phrase. Everybody knew the title.
Yeah.
Everybody would go and check out the film. They couldn't go wrong.
And they cut
did.
like 40 scenes from the movie apparently.
That's
What like censorship I think is like you get like if you get things which you like which people know but don't want to acknowledge, it's going to be an issue because Bollywood is looked at as that dream thing to way to escape reality, and we have to break.
No, but you're
away
forgetting
from
the
that.
censor board in the background. You're forgetting that brilliant man, Pelaj, and his group of people who may or may not be government sympathizers, who may or may not want a certain orthodox view to be projected of India. And it just kills art at the end of the day because if people don't have disparate views, what's the point?
Yeah.
We can't all have one view.
Yeah,
We just make one
exactly.
document. It's called India. Here we start, here we end. All good, all good.
Made by the censor board.
Made by the censor board. Pelaj Nirani in the lead role of father and son.
Yeah.
It was in the old days. But amazing story. Anurag Kashyap stays in the news. Whatever happens, the film does badly or well.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who you'll remember all year. He's always in the news. Pokemon Go, that was huge.
It was massive.
I saw people walking around like morons with their phones and looking. I mean, what happened to us?
Guilty as charged.
You did? You did?
No, but you know.
Why does it affect you? I just can't get under the skin of this damn game.
So I'll give you like a fair thing. There's an age gap between people like his age and my age.
3 or 4 years.
No.
10. I'm
10?
28.
But
She's 18.
they were the ones who like were there when Pokemon came out. You probably watched Pokemon on TV, right?
Yes.
I was like pretty young when this happened, so I didn't get to watch Pokemon on TV. I didn't care enough, and now I'm getting the chance to like enjoy things they did. So there's like even within
What
the
you're saying
age
is it's
gap,
like a bridge between the two?
It's like a bond, yeah. Like my brother and I would discuss Pokemon Go.
He's older.
He's 24. So
Okay.
like it's a 6-year age gap, but it's something else that like
But again,
helps you
these
connect
are
with
these
people.
are the things, explain it or not, they are pan-world phenomenons, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because somebody in friggin' Brussels or in Algeria or in Mumbai is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around why it hits so many people,
It was fun. It was really fun. Did you try playing the game?
No, but I was observing people because, I go to this ground in the Oval and I'm watching all these guys searching for places. They come and ask us also in the middle. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, 6 o'clock in the evening on a Saturday, aren't you getting ready to go drinking and find girls? What the hell are you doing?
The people who are there are probably the kind of guys who don't want to go and find girls and find Pokemons instead.
They want to, but they can't.
They do want to. No, it's not that. I think they would, but they just can't stop themselves. It's almost like, they're just drawn in.
There's enough girls who are into it as well.
Exactly.
No, there
was this whole BuzzFeed.
I'm giving you the wrong example. I take it back. Yeah.
There was the whole BuzzFeed article about this couple who met because of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. But the thing about Pokemon Go is it had its good thing where people who go into places they wouldn't go because they had all their spots in different places like temples and random places. But also there were people dying.
They got to see their own city thanks to Pokemon. Is what you're saying.
They actually
Uncharted
did.
territory.
Yeah, I did. I went to places I wouldn't usually go just to get Pokemons and stuff. But people were dying because
successful?
of Pokemon.
But I think that was too much. It's not like everybody died.
Not everybody.
You're stupid enough to cross the road, without looking.
There was also this whole, speaking of orthodoxy and whatnot, there was a temple, right, where you'd have, I think it was a Poke Gym or just Pokemon would show up there frequently. So people were flocking there. And
in India?
In India, yeah.
A mandir?
A mandir,
Yeah.
yes. And it became a massive issue.
So, but people were flocking there. The mandir itself didn't have a problem, but then somebody else said, what the hell are you doing? Desecrating my mandir. Is that what
Basically,
happened?
yeah.
And, people, there were these rumors going around that Pokemon Go was by the government to see what people are doing. And I'm like, Pokemon Go?
By the Japanese, Korean, Japanese, right?
Oh, I don't know,
Initially?
but they were it's different agencies are tracking you. And I'm like, seriously? Because of Pokemon
They're tracking you
Go?
through your notes. Be careful. When you're playing Pokemon with a 2,000 rupee note in your hand, that's how they find out who you are. Don't flash, whatever happens. Okay, but whatever, explain it or not, it was a sensation. See, we have to admit, these things were big, whether we like it or not.
It's kind of died out now, though.
Just yesterday. No, just yesterday. Geo and Pokemon Go have tied up. Just yesterday came out. So, there are going to be people.
So it's Pokemon Geo, not Pokemon Go.
But yeah, I mean, they're still trying to be constant. I think for 3 months, everyone was using it, and then everyone stopped.
I think most people are over it now.
Yeah.
The official version, so on the Android Play Store and stuff, the Pokemon Go wasn't officially released in India. So everyone downloaded the technically illegal
This you don't have to tell us.
I know.
Because this is our world.
But now
this
that it's legal,
subculture.
everyone's over it now that you can get the official version. They're like,
Damn it! You're right. We are drawn only to we're outlaws.
Yeah.
We want to be outlaws.
We're rebels.
We are rebels. Rebels with small digits and things. All right, we're running out of time. I've just been told we have to end it here. But we do have the AMAs, where we talk to May, who's much older than me. She can't hear what you're saying, so talk loudly and slowly. And maybe use the word auntie. Yeah. All right? Actually, for both of us. All right? AMAs.
Hi, I'm May, and I'm a huge fan of the indie music scene in our country. A scene that's relatively underground, even though it sometimes speaks its head overground, but there's no shortage of talent, and I get the privilege of interviewing some of the most awesome musicians on my show. I've had the likes of Euphoria, Krish Kale, Hardcore, Randolph Correa. I've had singer-songwriters, folk singers, electronic music producers, playback singers, rappers, fusion artists, instrumentalists, classical musicians, and so on. Whether mainstream or not, these people have chosen to release their original music, and these are the people currently shaping the direction in which our music scene is heading. Join me on my show every Monday and tune in to discover the unique talent coming out of India today. You can catch Made in India on your favorite podcasting app or our very own IVM podcast app. If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
All right, back here at the AMAs, we introduce May.
You forgot my name for a second?
No. We didn't. By the way, it's May's birthday, in a sense. While we talk.
17th December.
Yeah, but so I'm not sure where we are when we're talking. So happy birthday, May.
Happy birthday.
In December.
May.
In December. Paradoxically.
I got chocolates.
Is that a metaphor for something or really chocolates? Boom! I'm in. Either way.
Yeah, either way.
Either way. Okay, so I've got a question from Sid. It's directed to you, Cyrus. Are you planning to do stand-up? I would love to attend your show if there's one in New York.
Yeah. The answer is yes, I am planning. I've spoken to Donald. We're working it out because he's got the first, he wants someone to open for him next time he gives a speech at the Senate. So first me, then him. I don't know, because he's a hard act, man. Whatever you say. I mean, just imagine that guy's already started putting the people in the right place. But half of them are. There's this Russian lover who he's put in. Literally with Putin. I mean, I personally, 1 year they'll impeach him. That's what I think.
What?
But
1 year,
that
1.5 years.
suck because the Vice President Mike Pence is so much worse than
He's
he is.
worse.
Mike Pence is a Republican.
Way worse.
Donald Trump is a Trumpian. They will not be able to work together over a
This is
period
true.
of
You
time.
can't understand what Donald Trump is doing.
No, exactly. He's like a gambler.
He had a meeting with Kanye West yesterday.
Yeah,
Kanye West came out of hospital, psychiatric ward, and goes and meets Donald Trump, who should be in the ward.
It's
Maybe
the worst,
it was an
yeah.
intervention where Kanye goes and like, listen, Donald, you need help.
Yes.
Trust me.
You're much worse. Yeah.
I've been there.
Oof. And he wants to run for president next. It's not a joke. People think it's a joke.
2024, he changed the year.
Oh, he wants
He's given himself 4 more years.
Because 4 years will be in hospital.
Yeah.
May, I'm sorry. But yes, if we could, we would love to do shows in America. Of
Would
land
you
of
guys
the,
like to see
land of,
Cyrus do stand up?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know about Land of the Free,
Absolutely.
but Home of the Brave. Yes. Next 4 years, Home of the Brave.
For the time being. Okay, do you think people are generally insensitive towards people with mental disorders?
This is a tough question for the
Tough
millennials.
one, yeah.
I don't think they really care.
I think millennials.
We had someone on, hence the question has come in.
Right.
That it's like racism. So we make jokes about you're mad, you're crazy, or whatever. And there's an insensitivity to people who actually are, as in when you're clinically sick mentally. So we just don't think of it.
I think like millennials and like us privileged people in general, now we have a lot more awareness of mental illness in general.
Absolutely. I'm doing psychology. I'm studying psychology in school.
In Korean?
I wish. But I use like a lot of my social media forum to like discuss mental health because that's something I've really cared about since I've been really young. But I do feel
Since
like
I've been really young, you're 18.
no, since I've been like 12, I've been really like.
You're making me
bleeding
cry.
out
You want to see an old man cry just with the numbers you're using. You're making me cry. And I have mental health issues and I'm not being insensitive.
No, but what's really great is like sometimes people make posts about like positivity and stuff, and you see people actually discussing this. Like I don't see like older people, like especially people like Dinkar Says your age, aren't
Give me a
aren't
second.
open.
I know how you feel now, Cyrus. I'm getting it.
He's
Yeah,
28.
exactly. Like the
Cyrus is age.
older generation, they aren't okay talking about stuff like this.
They're uncomfortable is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and it's like when you bring it up, a lot of people are apprehensive to discuss this, which is changing at least with like people my age. Like I see people in my class very openly talk about having anxiety issues or something. And the thing is, we're getting more sensitized to it from a young age, so that's really going to make a difference
So
when
there's
we get
no such
older.
thing as normal. We're all 1 foot away from being nuts, and everybody goes, let's be open. And we all have moments where we probably need help, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're
And
sensitized
there's
to the
nothing-
fact that it's out there.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with like getting help, I feel. That's something people don't discuss.
I have said, and I say this again, I don't mind being helped medically for anything. I accept my faults. Only want females to do it. I'm just not comfortable with men probing me head to toe.
With women probing.
I don't care if she's
Lady
92
probe.
years old as long as she's female.
Would you want a woman to get like all up in your
I
head and
think
figure everything out?
25% recovery happens when I find a female coming and saying, how are you feeling? And I'm like, you tell me. And then immediately it gets better.
The healing process
Is that
starts
wrong?
there.
Dinkar, is that wrong?
No, it's fine.
Warm blanket. Spooning.
What? You rascal. Why
Maze
do
jump two
always,
steps.
Malus always get graphic. See, it's a mathematical mind. It's immediately spooning. The whole thing came into it.
Yeah, Cyrus is being so
general.
sweet.
Yeah, that's right. Sarcastic, but right.
I love spooning.
What? And you think we're weird?
Yeah.
We're talking about mental issues. You love spooning?
I love spooning's the best.
You know, spooning is a sexual action as well. So what are you trying to say?
Wait.
During intimacy or
Like,
just hugging and
but
spooning?
Hugging and spooning like
That's
the
not called
cuddle.
spooning. Spooning, you check your Kama Sutra, is a
I don't
position
know that
where both are
everyone's
facing the
staring at
same
me
way.
like I made a mistake.
Check Urban Dictionary.
What the hell? I don't know too much. This is the millennials.
Don't
But I know
do
my
I know it's the
I know
worst.
my positions because I've never tried any. Trust me.
Yesterday, I just discovered what double dipping is.
You don't know what double dipping is?
Yeah, I didn't know double dipping.
But you're like a foreigner. You should know all this.
Thanks. It's good to know.
She lived abroad.
Yeah.
What's her excuse?
Unlike
I
us who
know.
are pure Indians.
Pure.
Yes.
I'm pure South Mumbaiker.
You should see our Snapchat feeds, completely clean.
Guys, we're nationalists. I mean, of course, what are you talking about? We millennials.
We're nationalists.
Of course.
We support Tanmay.
Okay, last question. What do you think of politicians who attain godlike fame and have crazy followers? I'm assuming this is about Amma.
Oh, not just her. There's
Well, it's,
so many.
Every other
Psychophancy.
politician.
Isn't that part of our genes? Psychophancy, chamchagiri, chelagiri.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just with politicians. You see anybody in power and people are just, why do we do that? This is the caste system. ingrained in us?
Ooh, maybe.
I think so. There's some reason.
I didn't think of it from a
but I
caste
think
point of
that
view.
You
but-
don't look at an Australian, okay? If he's your chauffeur, he doesn't appear submissive when he talks to you. He'll be, okay, Gav, I'll drop you wherever.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's a certain equality. Egalitarianism.
Mate, not
Or South
Gav.
Americans, if you meet them, they will not bend over for you or use a phrase.
Yeah.
But with us, the moment there's a top dog, you become underdog. We just immediately become underdog.
I feel that we make sure that people know there's a difference between us. Like, you are lower than me and I am higher than you. Even like in small cases, I realize even in school we like teachers teach our maushis like shit. But like my class, we're all so nice. So like maushis, we're like we like for our birthdays, all of us team up and get like maushis like chocolates.
You know what a
and stuff.
maushi is? A helper. I'm trying to use the right
I thought
phrase.
Maushi meant like auntie.
It does.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
so
like
that's a nice
Indian.
way of calling a.
Yeah.
I want to say the word maid.
Help.
A helper,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I feel like people make it a point to show that they're higher or lower than certain people around them.
And why
Yeah,
should
but
they?
there's this
They're performing a service. They come to help the child. They
Yeah.
get paid a salary or whatever, and that's it. It's a service. There's no up or down.
Yeah.
No? They just perform their service and go. But we just presume that they're lower in the hierarchy for some reason. Like in our podcast, you come and bully me. Make me sit
I
near
enjoy
your
that so much.
at your feet and tickle your calves. Why do you do that to me?
You're doing it right now.
I've never done this before. I am so excited about this.
I've got the signal. We've run out of time. That's when Naveen, our producer, starts doing the washing powder Nirma ad. thing. Both hands akimbo, up and down, jumping and washing powder. Oh, don't do the turn. That moment was ghastly enough. You don't have to do it. All right. Thank you so much, Aranya from Korea.
Thank
And
you.
Dinkar, of course, member of the same stable. And May, thank you. As we go into the new year, your last thoughts. Aranya?
I hope 2017 doesn't suck. Full stop.
Oh, you look happy. You look happy. What's so bad about 2016?
Because you gotta smile through the whole year now. There's no other.
That's cynical for 18.
Yeah, because look at what happened last year. Look at Donald Trump. Must I say
But
more?
we have to give him some time before we judge. So it's a
Yeah,
bit early
fair
in the
enough. True.
day. Dinkar,
I think I'm in the same space. I think that you can only go up from here.
so much
So,
cynicism.
yeah, there's a lot to be positive about.
These are the youngsters. Look at the cynicism. You yourself, you're about 15 years younger than me. What do you feel?
15.
Don't get into the numbers. Tell me what you feel. 2017.
2017. I'm always about the upward bend.
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
about it. Always gonna get better.
Okay.
There were things that were
Hopefully.
terrible about this year. The things that were good about this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as we end, everyone discuss their sex lives. How many times do you have sex then, Karan?
Are we doing this on camera? Again, 2017 will be my year.
Hey, now you should be cynical.
Oh no.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. If you have any questions, write to us online and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
जी हाँ, पेश करते हैं Bollywood Scene Stealers. That's right. Even we have to put some Bollywood in our shows. Indu Mirani talks to people who should get more credit in the scenes. People who should have been given the bhav but weren't given the bhav. She talks to them. And by people, I mean, background dancers, singers, their parents, their aunts, their uncles, cousins, security guards, dressing room attendants, people who clean up after the show is over, someone who's bought the land even though there's no film on it. Check out new episodes on our IVM podcast apps. Happy listening, mother and fathers.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी,
बोलिए मैडम।
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस सेज है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, आईवीएम लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फन गराज है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम। आप जाओ ivmpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे।